All right. So today's topic, we are going to learn about logical functions. Okay. So whenever we talk about logics, what we get is we get the results in a form of like true or false, yes or no, right? Like 0 or 1. Okay. So these are the formulas which are going to help us to compare two different variables to different cells, if you talk about, and get the appropriate result as per our needs, right? If it meets the condition, then you can say it as like true. If not, then consider as a for like false. So we'll see one by one. For example, here, if you see, we have got Boolean operators formulas, which are those like and, or, not. Okay. So let's see one by one with the definitions. And what and says, check all criteria if true, and then returns true if the values are true. What does it means? Now let's take in with an example and check. Okay. Now let's say we have got two numbers where we need to check the resultant number matching with both these conditions. Okay. So to create an example, let's say I've got the value 123 and it should pass the another test also, let's say 124. So what does it means? Let's say this considers as A condition and this consider as B condition. Okay. So what and definition and function says, it has to meet both the conditions. Then only it is going to provide you result as true. Okay. Let's see what are the different outcomes you can get. Right. Now, for example, equals to A and B and logic 1. So what is the logic? What we want is, before going to that, jumping into it, I'll show you the logical tests what we can do upon, right? See, we have got equals to, not equal to, less than, greater than, less than equal to, and greater than equal to. So we are going to use this signs to compare two values. Okay. We are going to compare with the two values using this appropriate as per our requirement. Okay. Now coming back here, let's say we want a particular value over here should meet both the conditions. Means the value should meet, for example, let's say in this case, your B2, that is B2 is 123, should be greater than this particular E2. Okay. Should be greater than E2. So let's say E2. Okay. And the same, this value should also meet. Okay. Let's say A, this is like C2. C2 should be greater than E2. Yes, I'll come to that. It should be D, right? So let's say I'm in G, right? So I'm writing it as like E2. Okay. So this becomes, instead of B, this becomes all right. Yeah. So what we are seeing, let's create an example. Equals to, what we are seeing is the condition is D2 should be greater than E2. Now D2, when you say D2, it is 123. If I say 123, yeah. So I'm saying, so I'll select this D2, right? Is greater than, the answer would be, if I say greater, what should be the value in E2? It should be greater than, obviously, than 123, right? If I make it as like 125. So answer would be as, right. So the answer is false. What do you mean by false here is, as we are saying, our value, this particular value should be greater than this value. What we have provided is 125. So in this case, the answer will be false. Okay. So I've got this result. So I'll just shift this here now. Now what we want this particular answer. Now what we are seeing here is C2 should be greater than your E2. Yep. So if I say equals to again C2 is greater than 125. Again, the answer would be false, right? Now, here we have got two conditions. Yep. Now we are talking about AND function. Now, what AND says, if both the conditions meet true, then only I'll give the answer as true, or else I'll give it as false. But obviously, here already we have got the answer as false. So here to meet the condition, let's change it. Let's say this time I am saying as my, instead of 125, I'll make it 121. So you see, you'll get the answer as true over here. The same thing, I'm going to do this where, let's consider the same one, like 121. So answer would be obviously true. Equals to, now I'm going to use the AND function where I'm saying that both my conditions should meet it. Yeah. Now, whatever I have used here, the same I can use in logical 1 and logical 2. Let's consider this as logical 1, comma, this as a logical 2. The answer will be in a form of true. Here, if I say greater than 121, right? So if I make it 125 back again, see, one is true now, one is false. So the answer from the AND function we get is false, because what was the condition here? Both should meet. Both the condition or criteria should meet. Then only the AND will give the answer as true. Got it? Clear? This is AND function. Same thing you have if you take the example and go for OR function. Yeah. So what OR says, checks whether any of the arguments are true and returns true. Means any one of this condition, if it meets at least one, then it will result in a form of true. Simple as that. Yeah. If you see in AND, one is true, one is false, the answer will be false. Here, what it says, true or false. Here, one you are getting as true, another one as false. So it will consider as true here. So let's say logical 1, comma, logic 2. Close the bracket. True. The answer is true. In OR function, when we are using OR function, you are getting this result as true. OR function. This, the above one is AND function. The word itself says AND, this and like keyboard and mouse, book and pen, right? So both has to meet it, both the conditions. Then your answer will be true, or else it will revert in a form of false. All right, let's go back with the logical functions and check. We have got NOT. What NOT does? It is meant to make reversal of it. The results which you have got true, it will convert into false. And right, it is vice versa. All right. The most important formulas are your conditional formulas. Like example, if. So let's see with example. Okay. Okay. This is one of the best example which we can see. So we have got marks of different subjects. Let's take it here. So yeah. Right. So yeah, let's say English, we have got science, maths, and the rest. Okay. So I've got almost all my subjects over here. Then let's say so on and so forth. Okay. So I've got this list of marks which I have obtained. Now, in this case, whether I am passed on this particular subject or not after my results. Okay. I want my result value over here. Now we don't know what this particular value is all about, whether, right, we are passed or fail. So what we would require a condition to meet, right? Let's say minimum marks you have to obtain. That is, let's consider as 35. Now what we want every subject marks should be compared with this particular value to meet minimum expectations of 35, right? Then only you will be considered as a pass or a fail, all right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make use of if function. What if says checks whether a condition is met and returns one value if true, and then value if false. Okay. So let's start logical tests. Let's pass on the test. Let's say this value, yeah, this value should be greater every time with this value. Yeah. If I say this way, what is going to happen is this particular value, if I apply this formula to all the cells, so all the cells should meet with this 35, right? If I'm applying the formula over here and pasting at the bottom, there would be chances of shifting the cells one down. So what I'll do, I'll just absolute it by pressing F4. That is $D $11 will be fixing this particular criteria to meet. The condition is it should be above greater than 35. What if value is true? If this value is greater than 35, what we are saying C14 is greater than D11, the answer should be true. What would be your answer is pass. As we are talking about marks and results, so we want our remarks. So comma, and obviously when if it is not greater, the answer would be in a form of fail. So I'll type it as like fail over here. What does this definition means? If C14 is greater than D35, then pass or else fail. The answer is fail, as 24 is not greater than 35. If I press Ctrl C to copy, Ctrl Shift down, now you see, according to this marks 80, 86, 90, 76, 74, 740, which are all above than your 35. That's why your result has got as pass, right? This is the use of if function. Now, let's take one more scenario where we are going to see nested if now, where we are going to use multiple ifs, right, to solve a problem. Now, let's say we don't want only pass and fail. It should have the results according to your bucketization. Like what bucket is, like, let's say we are creating a threshold or set of bins accordingly. Okay, what I mean to say is, let's see. All right. What I mean to say is, let's say from 0 to 34, you should be considered as fail. Correct? Yep. Here, or let's say this way. Let's make it more interesting. 35. Let's shift this marks a little bit down. Okay. So what we are seeing, let me increase the size of this, zoom it up. 0 to 35, fail. Or like, let's say 35 to 50. What we are seeing here is like just pass. And all right, let's make it as 60. And here 62, 85. And here we are going to say 85 and above. That the maximum would be like 100, as the paper would be of 100. So this, let's say this is as first class. You can't say as distinction as 85 above. Yeah. So you can go with average also, first class, average, or like, and then comes with your outstanding stuff. So let's consider only 4 right now. Okay. Now here the challenge is we have to meet all these 4 conditions, and according to this marks, like let's say here we have got the answer as 80. So the answer should be here first class. Yep. So yeah, to avoid the confusion, let's create one more class.
36 to 60, or is it okay? Because both the condition will fall, right?
So let's say, yeah, let's consider till 75. And here let's say good. Let's say good. You want to give the remark as good for 75 and to 85.
Because 85 will fall in both.
Yeah, that is what logic you need to apply now.
Okay.
Okay. So end of the day, what we want to say is less than 35. Let's consider as fail. Yeah.
But what if like 35 is the result?
Exactly. That is what. When you have got 35 as a result, you see we have got here. So when you are saying that you want, no, okay, we'll go one by one. Okay, how you're going to meet all this and give the appropriate result according to your marks, right? These are your marks. Let's say 24. So what you're going to do, you need to pass all this tests for it rather than going for this number, because you may not know the below numbers falls under which criteria or which threshold or this provided slab. All right. Okay, let's begin. Equals to if logical test. Same thing we are gonna do it this time. So C15, I'm saying C15 should be less than, yeah, only less than 35. So what does it mean? If it is less than 35, the value, if it is true, what does it mean? If this condition meets the criteria, right? The result meets the, so the value meets the criteria, then the answer would be fail. So here I can type it as manually within the code, or else if I've got the cells with me, yeah, already written it. With the results, I'll just choose the cell. Instead of writing comma, if logical test again, this value is greater than equal to 60 or greater than equal to, I'll give it this as like 59. Why? Tell me, what would be the reason? When I'm saying here less than 35, what does it mean? Anything which is lesser than 35 will be fail. Exact 35, I want to say it as pass. Exact 35 will be pass. Okay. Value if true, what I'm saying, FC12 is fail. But instead of value of false, see, again I'm using if function. Why? Because I have to meet rest of my conditions, criterias, right? Correct. So again, I'm writing in terms of false, value of false. Again, I've started with if function, where I'm wants the another function to meet with the condition. So let's say C15 is greater than equal to 59. Why I have taken 59? Why not 60? Because when you say 60%, it falls under first class, right? So I'm taking -1. That is prior value, your previous value to your 60. That is 59. Okay, if this meet this condition, all right. See, when it is going to use it, simple. First, it will check the one, C15. If it's less than 35, if it is true, obviously it will give directly answer as fail. But if it is not meeting the condition, then it flips to second if. And here what I want to say is, from here it starts with 35 to 59. Exactly. So it will be here, correct. Less than equal to. Perfect. Why? Why we are saying as like less than equal to? Because we want anything which is falling between 35 to 60. That is before 60, that is 59. Should be considered as pass. So I'll choose pass. Comma. For false, again I'll write with if. I'll copy this. And this time I'm going to choose. Here it will be 74. Why 74? Again, 75 to 85 will fall under the good criteria, right? So instead of here, D becomes my D12 becomes my E12. All right. Now, comma. Again, I'm going to use the if function, right? So here instead of 74, as we have used here 74, here it becomes 84. So your every answer, right? Every result is getting compared with all of your slabs over here. All right. Same thing. I'm going to do it, comma, Control V to paste it rather than typing it the whole if function again and again. This time around, I'm going to use this as what would be this answer now? No. This time there is no use of if. I can directly give my false. Why? Because 1, 2, 3, 4. I have got my 5, 3, 4, 5 criteria to me. I'm going to use only 4 times if. So if I've got 5 or 4 conditions, let's say 5 conditions minus 1, I'm going to use if 4 times. And the last, this will be your false. What will be your answer? Outstanding, directly. Obviously, when you're not meeting all this criteria, when your marks are not meeting with all this criteria, obviously your answer would be outstanding. All right. So instead of D12 again, I need to make this as F12. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we are making all the conditions to check for this particular value is falling under which bucket. All right. So if I close this bracket and see, so I've got the fail. See what happened? I have not given so many closing brackets. Yep. So it automatically helps us. The best way is we should apply it so that we can also understand how many ifs and we have applied and whether it is working or not. See, the answer is fail. Now, if I say control shift down arrow, I'll answer get is 0. Why? Yes, we need to lock the cells if I want to paste it. What I need to lock here? The things which are not going to change. Yes. Now, the things, these are which we want to lock it. Yes. So I'm going to press F4 here, D12, F4, E12, F4, press F4 to lock your cells. All right. Perfect. See, we got our results. Just check, cross check once again. Okay, the score is 80, which is falling under 75 to 85 between this threshold. So answer is good. 86 above 85 goes with like outstanding. If I change this 44 to again 24, see, fail. If I make 34, fail. If I make 35, pass. Yep. So it is falling under this criteria. Got it? So whenever you are applying a logic, keep in mind, when you have got 2 or 3 or 4, when you have got loops or you have got different conditions to meet, check with the numbers and start with the basics ones first. All right. What I'm mean with this is whenever you're starting with, start with the lowest values first, like 0 to 34. Start from here. So it makes easy to check the conditions and get the appropriate results, right? This is how you're going to use the multiple ifs. Yeah, we are seeing here, see, we are seeing 84 here, less than and equal to 84. I'm not saying like greater than 84, right? Greater than 84 will be obviously outstanding. So I want to restrict the values from 75 to 84 only, right? If instead of 84, if I say like greater than 75, what would have happened? It would go with this bucket also till 100. I want to restrict that from this to this only, right? So what does it means? From, if I'm saying here 84, right? If I'm saying 84, right? Why? Because I want to restrict it. Less than equal to 84 means above 84, it will not be considered in this particular bucket. Clear? This is the use of if. Now, apart from this if, we have got if error, right? Let's see now. Right now, it's meeting all the conditions. Okay. If I don't pass the value here, see, automatically it is giving us fail as it is blank. All right. All right. Let's create one more example over here where we are going to use as like a lookup function, or let's say we miss something to provide it a particular cell. Let's say if I remove the C15 and press enter. Okay. Right. So, all right, not a problem. Let's create a scenario. Let's take this marks only. Let's say we have got English, science, maths. All right. Let's say social science. We have got EVS and Canada, Hindi. These are my subjects. Let's add two more. Let's say robotics. All right. These are my subjects. And these are my marks. Let's give the header subjects. Marks, pass or fail. All right. So this is my one table. And this is my another now. Now in this table, I don't have this mark, pass or fail, or let's name this as remarks, as we have got more than marks and fail. I'll do this here. Now what the VLOOKUP function do, right? It helps us to look up the value what you want to see, check, and get this appropriate result column into your resultant column into in this particular table. Equals to, let's say VLOOKUP. I am searching for English, marks, or let's say we'll go with marks, right? Equals to VLOOKUP marks, comma. Let's say my lookup value is 24. I want to look into it, right? So it is better way, instead of going with numbers, we'll go with names. Why? Because we would require unique value, right? Unique column, and it should be common in both the tables, comma. What is my table array? See, we lookup value would be from the resultant table where you want the result. So let's say comma, table array would be my this. I'll choose this till here. Why? Because my resultant column is the third column. Okay. So my table array becomes B15 to D23. That is, as we are searching for English. So here it is starting with the B column here. And the result what we want in the form of remarks. So we have chosen how many columns? 1, 2, and 3. So your column index will be 3, comma. See, here if I type 1 or 0, we want exact match. So I'll type it as 0 and close the bracket. You see, I'll get my answer as fail. Okay. If I do it as Control T, I'll getting all my marks. Now, what if I don't have the Sanskrit over here? You see, I've got an error. This is what we are going to. So I've just created an example and showcased with the VLOOKUP function also. So this is NA. So instead of NA, what is NA means? Not applicable or it is not available here, right? So to convert this NA into dash, yes, or anything what you want a specific word to be displayed when it is an error. How you are going to do this? Simple as that. Instead of writing VLOOKUP at the start, I'll type it as, yeah, if error. Very good. If error. Now, what is the formula of error? If error. If it is a value, it will provide you as a value. If it is an error, then what do you want to get this as a result? So I'll write within the quotes as dash or anything what I want, and I'll close this. So it converts your error into the specified or provided text or value or anything. If I say it as like not applicable, so it will just replace the error into form of your. This is the use of if error. If you check with the problems or the errors, what you get is like this. See name, hash NA, hash value ref. When you find this kind of things, these are under your problem in your syntax, or you have not provided the appropriate result. Okay, this is NA. If I go with the if example, you see. So here I've got list of city product sales executive. And here I want the rates from here. So with the help of if function, we can apply that. Okay. So I want you guys to practice all this, logical test, and at the final, you can solve this. Okay. So this is your logical function. All right. So I'll be sharing this recording. All right. Just practice it and solve this if example and send me the file.